So it sounds like Mixtape was quite the stinker. I haven't played Mixtape myself, and I likely never will. Everything that I'm seeing is, I'm seeing quite the cultural divide, actually. I'm seeing some people, like, in the industry giving it a 10, like this guy here, Gene Park, a video games and digital culture critic, gave Mixtape a 10. I feel like if you're giving Mixtape a 10, you're probably not being very critical of it. So maybe you shouldn't be using the word critic as a descriptor for you. As Asmongold says, Mouthwashing was a 10, Mixtape was a 6 at best. The problem isn't gameplay, it's narrative, except plenty of people did have problem with the gameplay, but we'll get into it. I spent hours thinking about the moral ambiguity of Mouthwashing, while the same time for Mixtape, I spent thinking about all the ways it was awful. Indulgent millennial slop. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. You know, my understanding is it takes place in the 90s, and let's see, there was someone else. This description right here, I think, is also quite apt. Mixtape is a game made by someone who didn't have friends, who really wished they had friends, and made this game on what they thought a friend group was like. So like I said, some people had issues with the gameplay. I'm going to show you an example of the gameplay here. Michael Does Life gave us a great example of what this gameplay is like. Let's put that in full screen. Here we go.
Where's the gameplay? I'm not doing anything. Hands free, by the way. Hands free, by the way. The game plays itself. Hands free. There's no game here. Hands free. You don't even have to play it. Oh my God. You don't even have to play it. Don't even have to play it. Wow.
The only way I could see that deserving a 10 is if the 10 is out of 100. Again, I haven't sat down and played it, but I'm not going to spend my time playing playing this game when it's so obviously not a game. I know that's another thing that's been a big dividing factor, is whether people are even should be calling this game a game. Like maybe it should have been a movie. I'm gonna bring you to Christina Tasty and her take on why she hates Mixtape.
We're going to ignore this. I'm not going to be pressing a single thing. I'm just going to be ranting, as you can see.
So as she said there, she's not going to be pressing a button this entire scene. So this is just playing itself.
So in this cutscene, we're just going to. Oh, by the way, we're going to ignore this. I'm not going to be pressing a single thing. I'm just going to be ranting, as you can see. So this is a very pivotal part of the story where you're about to save your friend from their cop dad, or what little story there is, anyway. I say this, but I don't feel anything. Mostly because there's absolutely, virtually no, character insight. You've seen some Family Guy cutaway gags of the gang hanging together. But also, I don't need to do anything. I'm not pressing anything. She just keeps running. There's no consequence. She's gonna make it regardless. I should be like, oh, my heart is pumping, but no. Interactivity can make a mid-story better. But
interactivity can make a mid-story better. As this guy says, you're barking up the wrong tree. I played Stellar Blade for 2 to 3 hours and thought it was technically fine. Story is weak, but combat is fun. I'll finish it eventually. But to answer your question, yes, it is a game. Mixtape isn't. So, yeah, in this person's opinion, Stellar Blade was a mediocre story, but it was made better by the interactivity of the combat. I love the community note, though. God, I love seeing people community noted for their stupid takes. And this is a video game, right? Yes, it is. Yes. Stellar Blade is a video game. Correct. All right, back to Christina Tasties.
This game does not understand that because it doesn't want to be a game. This is a game. This is how most of the game functions. And not only that, you've got to focus on the fact the background's going at 60 frames per second and the character is going at a janky frame rate that makes it look like she's running on 989 MS ping. And she's...
It does look very jarring with her moving at a very different frame rate as the rest of the game.
It's going. Still not pressing anything. She's still going. I'm still not pressing anything. It's just like all these set pieces and all these moments where your input means absolutely nothing. And I'm supposed to point at this and go, look, it's like Ferris Bueller. It's like Ferris Bueller, guys. And oh, by the way, look at the rubber ring there. Excellent. They really appreciate the fact I'm completely obsessed with Sonic animation. We were forced to play the slushy scene, but we did not need to interact with the pivotal character moment. Whoa, look, there's going to be a moment here. I'm not going to press anything.
Oh, the character's running and trying to be like rushing to do something very important to save a friend, but we gotta have the quirky moment where she like photobombs in the front of the photo. Oh, so quirky, so quirky.
Need to interact with the pivotal character moment. Whoa, look, there's going to be a moment here. I'm not going to press anything. Oh, she did a quirky thing, but I didn't do that. The game did that on its own. Almost like this should have been a fucking movie.
That's what I've been hearing a lot. It should have been a movie.
Just keep going. This is the game, by the way. There's like 4 maybe scenes, and look at how quirky it is. They're clapping, and there's a bunch of people on the roof.
You know, I actually don't mind if a game is quirky. I was making fun of it for doing a quirky thing. Fine, have your quirky game, but at least make it a game. If you're going to make it a game, call it a game. If you're going to release something like this where you can get through the whole level or whatever without any input from the player, it's not a game. You're watching a cutscene. It's all cutscene. So functionally no different from a cutscene. You might as well call it like a digital experience or something. But don't call it a game when you don't design gameplay that functions as a game. Games have a definition. The word game means something. Games have fail states. Games have ways for you to lose, or at least to be reset back and have to do it again. You know, there's plenty of games back in my day, plenty of games that had like, oh, you have 3 lives and you can earn more lives as you play, but if you lose all your lives, then you're out and you have to start back over at the very beginning. We've moved away from that. Moved away from the complete fail state. But instead, more often now, you're reset back to whatever portion of the game that you failed, and you have to do it again until you succeed. Very, very like the Dark Souls method of you died, you go back to the last bonfire, you got to try it again. And that's still a game. That's still a fail state. But this, where you literally don't put in any input and it just plays the game and you get through it on your own, that's not a fail state. That's not a game then. It might be enjoyable to some people. I will give it that. Some people find it enjoyable. I have a theory as to why the reviewers seem to like it so much. I think the reviewers like it a lot because it can't be failed, because it's a short game. It's only like 3 hours long, I heard. Something like that, 3-4 hours to play through the entire game. So because it's so short, reviewers who are often swamped, right? They have massive games that they're supposed to play through and write up a review for, and they have to keep churning out that content. And it is a grind to be a video game reviewer. There's just always more to do, and you just don't have enough time. So when a game comes across your desk that you get to review that only takes you 3 to 4 hours to play through the entirety of the game, and that's like, there's no need to dive into, oh, what did I miss down this alleyway or that alleyway, or like, were there other ways to go? None of that. Just the game, you experience the entirety of what the game has to offer in that 3 or 4 hours, and then you can write up a review. That makes your job easy. It's so easy compared to a lot of the other games. So that's why I think a lot of the reviewers like it. I think they like it because, and they want to see more like it, because they don't want to be having to dive into big complex games. They just want to review something that is easy and they can put it out. I think that's a big reason as to why they got their 10s.
It would be great if the story actually made me care about what was happening. Just the service of nothing. It pisses me off. It really does. It's like, this got a 10 out of 10. Oh, this is a really nice kick. I really wish I could have failed that, or, punted a wide. Vikings.
Why are people just letting her run through and do all of these things? It's a little cognitive dissonance there, or not cognitive dissonance, suspension of disbelief. Failing to suspend my disbelief there.
In the 1990s, I don't know. I'm probably talking on I don't know American football, but still, watch it go. Watch it go.
There.
And she's almost there.
Oh. You didn't hit anything, so she got stuck for half a second, and then the game just said, "Okay, we'll roll for you. We'll duck under it for you, so that you're not stuck."
I wonder if I failed or not. I wonder if by not pressing a single thing, I failed this whole chapter. I doubt it. It's all flash with no substance. It's all in the sake of just a bunch of collective moments. And oh, look, the next sofa. Look, she made it. She made it. I'm so stressed right now.
I wonder, as someone who hasn't played it, so hitting nothing and you succeed. I wonder if you do hit buttons, if it's possible to roll at the wrong time to actually find a fail state. Is there a way to actually force it so that you mess up and fail? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Here's one of those video game reviewers that I was talking about that love it. Dean Takahashi, Mixtape is awesome. Again, hit with the community note so that everybody knows. This is the Cuphead guy. If you remember the Cuphead video, oh boy, the Cuphead video. I won't bring it up in this one. In this video, I'm not going to include it in this. But go look up the Cuphead video by Dean Takahashi. His inability to get through the tutorial. Not get through the first level, but like literally the tutorial, the white background tutorial where it has a text telling you what buttons to press to jump over boxes and stuff. Cannot get past it. I don't trust him when it comes to video game opinions. He just... there's probably some, if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, there's probably some games that he really likes that are just a different style of game than me. But if you can't get past the tutorial of Cuphead, I'm sorry. Nope. I don't trust you when it comes to game reviews. So let's wrap this up. This Mixtape disaster video by seeing what good old Papa Fleekazoid has to say about it.
Pimps, can I be honest with you?
Absolutely, Fleek.
Movie fatigue.
Game movie fatigue?
Year after year, we've got these game movie writers churning out some game movie slop, and I'm sick of it. First, they came for the AAA slop, and I said everything. Like, really, you could not shut me up if you tried. Then they came for our childhood, and I started a war. I'm about to tear Mixtape apart in a few minutes. I don't care what they say. Let those game movie actors watch. I like that. Now we've...
By the way, that scene where they were pressing the button over and over again, that's the gameplay. That's a scene where you do actually have control over the character. You can press a button and make it turn the light on and off, and you can do it rapidly, or you could do it in time to the beat. Those are kind of your options. Oh boy.
Reached the last bastion of gaming, indie. This was always supposed to be your safe harbor from AAA garbage. For years, people have said, well, if you don't like AAA games, just go play indie. Well,
to be fair, people say to go play indie, but just because it's indie doesn't mean it's going to be good. There's plenty of garbage indie games out there. It's just that indie games aren't beholden to the shareholders and the decision makers of the AAA. So truly passionate indie developers are capable of making things that the AAA industry is not okay with them making. But there's still plenty of really bad indie games out there. It's a lot of indie games are made by people where it's their first game, or it's very inexperienced developers that are fumbling their way through. So yeah, you're gonna find some garbage.
What are you gonna do when they just brute force their way in here too? Well, now you don't have to wonder anymore. This game movie bullshit. Now they want you to applaud their billion-dollar indie game like they did something special. But hey, maybe I'm just being jaded. Let's take a look at a special moment from the game. Come on, let's give it a shot, guys.
I know nothing about this. What in the world is happening? I guess it was like a makeout scene or something. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with that scene of the game.
Jesus! That's it! No more shots for you! I gotta take as many shots as I give! My liver can't take it anymore! Which reminds me, have you ever seen a MILF shake? Well, you can at the link below. This was the only safe for work product. Be sure to use code PIMP to get 10% off. Seriously, I don't know how many more of these game movies I can take.
That's the thing, is that they are game movies. They're cutscene simulators.
At this point, it's not like anyone even
In the IGN review for Mouse PI for Hire, they gave a 6 out of 10. This is a subtle reference to the game's writing being very cheesy. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, I saw that they gave this a 6 out of 10, and the issue was that it was too much of a game and not enough of a movie. Like, genuinely, that's what the critique was that, hey, I thought this was going to be like a noir film, and it ended up being a game. And it's like, yep, it's a game.
Takes IGN seriously anymore, but they've got enough money to annoy me.
Yeah, I don't trust any of the IGN reviews. In fact, I actually think in a lot of ways you can just flip the reviews on their head and do a pretty good job of knowing what games are good.
Me on a daily basis. Some random freelance writer slaps a 10 out of 10 on this. Now I gotta talk about it. So let's talk about it. Mixtape is a game that's supposed to be
Why are they on a dinosaur?
indie, you know, despite the fact that they've spent more on licensed music than most games ever make, because, you know, with such generous licensing fees in the industry right now, every scrappy solo dev should be able to pay 400 grand per song, right? And how can we forget about that indie charm of sending out expensive merch to all the reviewers?
I hate to my negative about content here. What in the world is happening with words there? I hate to my negative about content here, but this is an actual industry plant. I think I just had an aneurysm trying to read that. It's okay to like this sort of game, but it's how it's presented itself hurts actual indie titles. Real licensed music, yeah, that's really expensive. Massive array of custom assets and cutscenes fully voiced too. Insanely pricey press kits sent out to small and big content creators. Presents itself as indie. I don't know how much money the game had. I don't know how the studio is structured. So it's kind of hard for me to say definitively whether it's indie or not. I know indie originally was independent from a distributor. You know, people that would put the games out themselves. That's changed a lot, because if that were the case, then a lot of AAA companies would be indie because they distribute games themselves rather than putting it out. So I don't know. I don't know what the term indie is a bit nebulous these days. When I think indie, I think small studio, like, you know, less than 10 people typically. I think startup. I think people that are scraping by and using whatever resources they can to try and get things done. I don't think of licensed music and big press kits being sent out. So it does. I think it's fair to say this isn't in the spirit of indie, but the actual definition of indie has shifted and is hard to pin down these days. So I could also see why people would qualified as indie.
And content creators. What, you think putting a gold bar in a goodie bag is a bribe? Well, it is. But they didn't do that. And legally, I need to make this very clear so that I don't get sued by this chick's billionaire father. I can't afford a lawyer. I'm a baller on a budget. You think they can't be an indie dev because their father is a billionaire? Listen.
Wait, what?
On a budget. You think they can't be an indie dev because their father...
The video game Mixtape is published by Annapurna Interactive, a company founded by Megan Ellison, daughter of Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison. Oh, goodness. Game has garnered significant attention and critical praise for its 90s nostalgia theme, but is also at the center of controversy over its funding, high review scores, and marketing, with some critics suggesting its success is fueled by Nepo-backed resources. Yeah, probably is. And I actually don't think that that's necessarily a problem. It's not a problem if she received funding from her dad or whatever to help get the game across the line. I don't, but some people do think that that means that it doesn't qualify as indie. And that's fair. If that's what their definition is, that's fine.
Is a billionaire? Listen, just because they've got a team of 30 people and millions of dollars backing them, that doesn't mean they can't be a scrappy indie too. Curb your prejudice. You people can't stand the sight of a young billionaire making their way out of the streets of their gated community. A billionaire that has more than nothing to work with, all the support money can buy. You don't know how hard it is to have this little to struggle with. We
God, please.
started from the top, now we're here. But I'm getting off track. Mixtape is not a game. Some people say it has gameplay, then show you this. I hate my dad. I asked for a Ferrari and got a Cayenne. This is supposed to be 90s nostalgia, but this story was so asinine that it's got me thinking maybe the past fucking sucked. Maybe we are living in the best times. That's how delusional this game makes me, and I'm
Oh, God.
I'm tired of calling it a game. They keep cranking out these game movies that no one wants to watch, let alone play. These are failed Hollywood actors that devolve into game movie actors to pretend they matter. All these game movie actors just won't come out and admit it. You don't want to be a game movie actor. You're game for pay. So stop slapping around joysticks and go back to ruining Marvel movies. My culture is not your costume. Pride Month is early, sucker. Welcome to Game Pride Month. Twinkle, twinkle, star. And listen, I'm not saying these people are only in it for the fame. I'm sure they're in it for the money too. They're planning to have a theatrical release of the whole 3-hour experience. You know what doesn't have that? A video game. The only theatrical release happening this year is Street Fighter, and that's because Cammy has lore accurate cheeks. Mixtape blew guys. Wait, sorry. Mixtape blew it, guys. So
Yeah, I don't think that it's a weird phenomenon where it seems very pushed by the industry, but like gamers don't seem to enjoy it. I'm sure there are some people like it, sure, whatever, but most people don't seem to be enjoying it as a game.
instead, they want every indie game award and an Oscar. Your greed sickens me. Listen, stories are great, but you seem to be forgetting that this is a video game. And the nice part about a video game is that after the cutscene, you get to play the game.
Right. But the gameplay in this game is essentially just more cutscene.
If I cannot play the game, it's not a game anymore, is it? I mean, you know, I'm the type of freak that likes to game and watch. Call me Mr. Game and Watch. Game and Watch? Yeah, I hope they do. I had nowhere else to put this joke, so it goes.
Oh my god. That was so dumb. That was such a dad joke. Bleak.
Here, frick you guys. Anyway, were you really shocked by the 10 from IGN? Were you really shocked by that rhyme I rhymed? This is a movie for failures from the 90s that still blame their parents for being born. The last indie game they played was Cuphead, and they couldn't even beat the tutorial. They're still butthurt from that, so anything with gameplay is gonna get a lower score.
Why does she have the power to flip things off and make things explode? I'm very confused by that power.
Remember when they gave Crimson Desert a 6 out of 10 because they had to think? Look, we all know critical thinking isn't their strong suit, and sure, people accuse them of using AI. But you gotta cut them some slack. They can't even spell AI. Anymore, the lower the score.
Oh god. Yeah, here we go. This is the kind of thing I was talking about. You can typically kind of invert the scores, and then you know which games are actually good. That being said, man, I'm out of the gaming loop these days. I didn't play Lollipop Chainsaw. I didn't play Crimson Desert, and I also didn't play Stellar Blade. So, you know, it's hard when you have a subpar computer that can't really run those games. I'm getting priced out of the gaming hobby. It's too expensive to buy graphics cards these days.
Or the better the game. And before people say it, I don't want Mixtape to fail. I hope they win every trophy at the Game Awards. That way they can melt them down and recoup their dev costs. Fortunately, these awards are only metaphorically worthless, especially when you see how Expedition 33 stole every indie game award despite having a shoestring $10 million budget, large experience.
Yeah, Expedition 33, it's an amazing game. I can also see why people might think that it's not indie with that kind of budget. There's such a big... Indie is such a wide category, in which you do have games like the $10 million budget Expedition 33, and you also have games like Megabonk, where just a single dude made a game on his own without spending any money, my understanding. Like, everything is just created by him. So it's such a big difference in what could be accomplished with that discrepancy of resources.
Experienced team of developers and complete support of every gaming journo in the industry. With an ivory tower like that, poor Pizza Tower never stood a chance. What it also had going against it is that it didn't even come out in the same year as this. Who wrote this script? Damn, I did. What even is an indie game anymore? When I
That's a good question, is what is an indie game anymore?
think of an indie game budget, I think of $100 to a failed Kickstarter. Not unlimited money from your billion-dollar daddy. Seriously. Mixtape is the billionaire's equivalent of giving an iPad to your daughter so she'll leave you the hell alone. All these companies heard we like indie games and are trying to dress up like scrappy upstarts. Can't wait to play 2026's Indie Game of the Year, Call of Duty 27. And I know I gave Mixtape the business, but I really love this game and can't wait to play it over and over again for the rest of my life. In fact, I rented out a whole theater so I could enjoy it fully myself. This fucking game. Who the f greenlit this? And I told you not to use that picture. I got a double check. Fuck. Oh shit, we're still rolling? Thanks to the flock of pimps, the pimps have spoken. You're about to witness the biggest budgets that have ever graced the front of a shaker cup. Dropping May 28th, so the countdown starts today. Go bookmark it and mark your calendars for some great big jugs. Pimps!
Alright. Thanks, Fleek. Mixtape seems to be kind of a disaster. They certainly got a lot of people upset. It certainly made a lot of people upset with Mixtape. I would suggest not to play it. But I do have to wonder, what do you consider an indie game these days? What does it even mean to be an indie game? And what does it mean to be a game? A lot of people are saying that it should have been a movie, or it was essentially a movie. What is your qualifier for what actually counts as a game? I'd be interested to hear other people's opinions on that. And you know what? I might disagree, and that's okay. Anyways, that's it for me. Take it easy.